Hello everyone, welcome to Vertical Orientation Day. Yes, and today, I'll start this for you. Today, and I can see myself. Cool. Okay, today what we're going to be discussing is this drawing that I'm going to periodically be popping in on. The reason why I went vertical today was because I did not want to just have a full screen of me talking again, and I want this to be a genuine kind of like, I take moments and, I walk you through it, but I'm not going to be here the entire time because I want you to get the full view of this drawing. For the first time in forever, no, I'm just kidding, for the first time in forever, I actually drew the background for one of my pieces. Normally, like if you look back at the Steven Universe series, when I was drawing those characters, every single character I drew was just superimposed on the background of like Beach City. It wasn't me drawing the background clearly. And speaking of those shorts, I actually feel like a lot of them are kind of subpar now. Like I look back at Lapis and I'm like, yeah, you were just kind of like out there because I needed a scheduled short. Like you're not what I would consider to be my best Lapis for sure. Nor am I really inspired by the character. Like you can tell the characters that like really inspire me and I likely drew them first, or they had a lot more detail with their character. Ouch. She's just not one of those people, in my opinion. It's very distracting when you ever see myself. This is why I normally don't, so I can give you my full attention. But yes, I drew Jake, Finn. These are all people that were not included in the, I want to do like a flash of like all the other Adventure Time characters I did draw. But yeah, I drew, Slime Princess. I drew all the princesses, that's what it was. And now I'm just drawing, the characters that I like and or that kind of just fit the environment that I wanted to draw, which was inside of the treehouse. The treehouse is very impressive. Like drawing it is helping me to like visualize what it will look like in real life, which is kind of crazy because it's such a fantastical place. Like there's this little spot I didn't even notice. I don't even think I've ever seen them use that spot ever in the show, but it had the ladder in the back and it's like their basement. I don't think I've ever seen them use that. Unless somebody just like went down and then came back up, But yeah, like noticing those kind of things and like all the candles that they have lit around the house because technically they don't have any electricity because it's a tree. All those kind of cool things has, helped me to appreciate the reason why I love this show so much. I had it kind of where Finn is in the foreground. Obviously, he's the main character. And he's like kind of uncomfortable with how affectionate talking Jake and Lady Reinicorn are getting. And Bimo is just kind of like obsessed looking at it all. And Shelby is just saying check please, because that's what Shelby does. And I don't ever think I've seen anybody like draw Shelby, and he's a worm. Like he's pretty plain looking, so it wasn't that hard to include him. And I was also still kind of like pushing myself to draw more people. I don't mind talking as much during the sketch part, and I want to find a way to like just crop it to where it's just like this part of me, so then I can like float around the screen and I don't have to leave you alone. Let's see if I can do that. If I can do that, then this won't be broken up, and if I can't, then you'll just see me as a square periodically popping in, or the entire time I talk too much I'll just move side to side so that you can see it all. But yeah, that relationship, Lady Reinicorn and Jake, I actually just was thinking about how they're one of the first, like, we've had multiple children, but this isn't what you think, like we're not married, this isn't like a typical relationship, and that's what I like about them. Like they have genuine love for each other that isn't through like, oh, that's your wife, or you're Mr. Reinicorn or whatever. Like it's just they love each other, and that's what it is. I've always like most Black people who don't see themselves represented enough in cartoons or in media period, they kind of just ascribe certain characters that have similar traits to our community and say that that person is black, you know. Although I don't think if Jake was a person that he'd be fully black, I do think he is black. So that's why he is so brown. And Lady Rainicorn is clearly a Korean woman with the longest blonde hair you've ever seen. And Bimo is clearly a little Korean kid as well. Shelby, I believe, is just a white man, and so is Finn. But yes, I did have fun, like, drawing a non-typical couple of, like, the woman being taller and the man being shorter, and like being totally into her and turned on by her height. Like, Jake that's why I wanted him to have on baggy clothes, is because he's a stretchy character. Like, it would be silly for him to have on these restrictive, you know, clothing. So he can get as tall as her, he can stretch to be as tall as her, I guess, but like, he enjoys her being taller, and like, that's her whole thing, is like a tall ass Rainicorn. But yes, Bimo was just cute. He always has loved love. I kind of took that era when they were, this episode when they were recording the movie on Bimo, and they kept on dragging Bimo in different directions. Like, I want to do a love movie, I want to do a movie about action. And Bimo didn't really care one way or another, but he does love, and he, in my mind, in this scene, is kind of thinking about him and Lorraine, the chicken that he used to date. I could have drew Lorraine, but like, I was scared of Lorraine because that's such a grown name, and Bimo is such a kid. It's like, oh. But anyways, that was, you know, the setup. You know, Finn's uncomfortable, Shelby is just kind of minding his own. He's got the violin because technically that's his home. Everything is kind of very on the nose, and you have to know the show to kind of see why certain characters are that way, or like why the room is that way. You kind of just kind of know the show. But if you don't, that's okay. It's still a fun show. If you're an adult and you feel like, oh, it's a cartoon and I can't watch it, there is, you know, enough adult jokes and plenty of adult situations and emotions specifically that come up, you know, and still makes it hella entertaining if you are an adult. But you know, the main audience that it tried to appeal to get those people in tune with their emotions and in tune with things that they talk about, which is like daddy issues and like love and throwing yourself into places where people don't want. It's all kind of like very grown topics, but packaged in a cartoony box, similar to regular show. They cussed a few times in regular show, and it was on Cartoon Network for kids to see. But when you look at it, both Mordecai and Rigby are my age. They're both 23. So why wouldn't they cuss? Why wouldn't they talk about Margaret having these lady pecs and all these kind of things? Like, it's packaged for kids, but there's millions of audiences that it could appeal to. And I love this show. And I think I also do have regular show characters in there, and I already drew Rigby and I just superimposed him. So I think I could just take Rigby, you know, and then draw Mordecai. Rigby was also like, he was either Hispanic, black and Hispanic, or black. And I think for mine, he's probably just black. But yeah, probably black and Hispanic actually. Cause like, there's so much discourse about what these characters would be like if they were like a person. Mordecai is definitely just like, you know, like this hippie white guy. You know, and I'll have a lot more fun with that one because I only posted Rigby, I think, and nobody really knows what's coming next. And the more that I draw these characters and like humanize them, the better they'll come out every time, you know, each time I try to do it. But yes, I think that's all I wanted to say for now. So the shading was probably one of the hardest parts of the whole thing. It was so many shadows that I didn't consider when I first did this. So yeah, that was terrible. But I took Lavender Town's advice on how to do my shadows, and now I have such an easier time like going in and like being able to fill in spots that I left, you know, not as finished or whatever. Like I'm able to do it easier because of this hack. The hack is, if you do not know, let's say you have your drawing, let's say you're drawing a person and you draw in all their shadows. What you're gonna do, instead of drawing, like taking whatever color it is, which is what I used to do, take whatever color it is and then use a darker version of that color for the shadow, what you'll do is take a deep purple or a deep blue or really a deep color of anything. It depends on what the drawing is. So my outline for this drawing is in deep purple, and so for the shadows I chose a deep blue. I don't know, but I like to use the purple and blue because it's so similar to like black, so it works. And you put that in all those areas. So let's say like you were drawing Finn's hat and you forgot to fill in a certain part where, and it's kind of like patchy white instead of fully white, and you have shadow there, and put it in a different layer. Oh my god, put the shadows in a different layer. If you put it in the same layer, you just erase it. So put it in a different layer, and then you'll scale it all the way down, the opacity all the way down to like a 15%. And then you have all your shadows, and you can still fill it in and never ruin the shadow, and it'll still all look the same. And you can color drop easier. Everything is just easier. Oh my gosh, she's helped so much. And she has like a cartoony style like I do too, so it helped. So I'm putting y'all on game if you watch this, if you draw. Yeah, I feel like that was probably like the main like issue that I've had, you know. And I've gotten kind of lazy with it too. Like there are some of my shorts, if you look back on it, it's like those shadows kind of look rushed. But you know, that's shorts. Shorts are quick. This is why I enjoy this, because this is where you can see my face. This is where you can come and enjoy me and my energy. Like, I don't know, shorts kind of take that away. And like, yes, you can get very personable in it, but like, you see how much I'm talking? Like, imagine if I try to like do this kind of stuff in short form. It just wouldn't work. But I have no idea what time I didn't even set a timer for myself. That's how confident I was going into this. I did not. And if you see I'm breaking out, I am on my cycle, and I have a bunch of cystic acne all over my face, and it's terrible and it hurts. So yeah, I think that was probably the challenge. The first half of what I was saying is probably the best part. And with that, I think the next time you see me, I'll probably be closing this out, because then I like to do it in the stages of like sketching, then shadows, not shadows, sketching, coloring, shadows. But it's like line art is in there somewhere, but likely next time. But yeah. gosh. I hope that you enjoyed seeing these people humanized in my way. Maybe if I start doing what other artists do, which is draw something, come back, like, I don't know how many years later, but they come back and, you know, retry it to see if it changed, if you view this character differently, you know, and things like that. But I have a very completist mind, so I don't know that that'll happen. I'll probably have to do that with something like personal of mine. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up. I appreciate you guys for being here, listening to me yap, watching this come together. This was 6 minutes worth of content. That is the longest I've ever had for video to like edit and stuff, straight from Procreate. So this took me a long time apparently. But yeah, I'll come back with the next one, and I hope that you guys, you know, drink water and enjoy your life in whatever way that you can. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up. I don't want to leave, but I'm going to. Terribly.